Now, the 2021 Mercato for Milan was one many fans will remember, for good and bad reasons. The bad, they lost a player that came through their academy, a player that so many people sat down and said, this will be our goalkeeper for the next decade. Italian, understands Milan, grown up within Milan's academy, Donnarumma, and it's not as if Milan cashed in on him for an elite price tag, an amount of money that they can now reinvest into the team. No, Donnarumma left for free. You heard me right. Donnarumma left Milan for free. So what was the plan behind the madness? Maldini told himself, let's go to France, let's go to Lille, let's get Mike Maignan for 15 million. 15 million as a goalkeeper, still with his prime years ahead of him. As a goalkeeper, he ticks a lot of the boxes of the modern day goalkeeper. He can play out of the back. He can command his box. He can sweep and he can make saves. Everybody knows how good Mike Maignan is from penalties. He's been elite. He's been a player that if you were to look back on his Milan career, he's been an integral piece. He's a player that won the Scudetto in his first season as a Milan goalkeeper. He understood the assignment. He understood his objective. And I feel like he delivered the goods. But fast forward 2025. I feel like I can make this video about every Milan player. Fast forward 2025. And he is a player with question marks. He is a player that maybe some people are looking at and saying, is he worthy of this new deal? Now, as of now, Mike Maignan earns 58,000 per week, which is about 2.8 million a season. Milan are offering him just under double, 5 million a season, with an extension of 4 years to 2030. But like I said, the question is he worthy of this new deal? Because as a goalkeeper at the age of 29, this is probably his last big contract. But is he a goalkeeper on the decline? Because it happens, guys. Players decline. There's no age to it. Mike Maignan this season, a blunder of errors. Goals are being let in, which I sit down and tell myself another goalkeeper doesn't let those in. Mistakes. There's even been a report as of late that he's overweight. He's having too much cannoli. He's overweight. A lack of professionalism. A lack of accountability. Sometimes as a player, self-development, look at yourself in the mirror and tell yourself what I'm doing, it's not good enough. This season, Mike Maignan has been a disappointment. The majority of the season, there have been times where he's stepped up and he's shown the Mike Maignan of late. And I've always said this. I feel like when players enter a season where it's back and forth on their contract renewal, it plays in the back of their heads. And maybe, just maybe, it's the reason why their performances drop off. But listen, the $1 million question is, he's a player that's approaching the end of his Milan career. Is he worthy of this new contract? Is he worthy of earning 5 million a season? Now, I look at it one of two ways. It's very hard to replace a goalkeeper, especially in the modern game. Goalkeepers, especially Mike Maignan at the age of 29, you could make a case he's still got his prime years ahead of him. You could make a case he's a player that understands Milan. He's a player that's been there through the good, through the bad. He's a player that throughout his career in the Milan shirt has shown he's one of the most reliable. There was a period where people could say he was the best keeper in the world. He was a keeper that was hot property. Teams all over the world wanted to sign him. But I feel like sometimes when you look at his injury record, when you look at sometimes in games, he has those lapses in concentration and he lets in cheap goals. And Milan at the moment, they're probably looking at him and thinking, maybe, just maybe, this is the perfect time to cash in. If he signs this new deal and Milan try to sell him once he enters his 30, they wouldn't get the same amount of money than if they were to sell him at the age of 29. But do I think it's the right move? Do I think departing and letting go of somebody like Mike Maignan is the right move? In my opinion, as much as I feel like he's been poor, this is a player that's been a Milan captain. This is a player that's one of the senior heads. And I always say, in a team, the senior heads are supposed to lead by example in their performances, in their character, in their personality. This is the guy that Milan fans look to and say, you are the person that players should look up to. You, as a goalkeeper, let's just put it like this. As a goalkeeper, you are the last line of defense. So, for example, your attack is your first line of defense. Your midfield is your second line of defense. The defense is your third line of defense. And the goalkeeper, he is the last line of defense. If the midfield gets beat, you've still got the defense that can bail you out. If the defense gets beat, You still got the goalkeeper that can bail you out. If your goalkeeper gets beat, you can see the goal. As the last line of defense, as a goalkeeper, you're supposed to breed confidence. Your teammates are supposed to look back and be like, we got Mike Maignan. If I make a mistake, he'll save me. That hasn't been the case this season. That hasn't been the case. So many times, goals have been let in and I'm like, come on, bro. You can do better. I don't know what it is, but in my opinion, should Milan cash in on him? I say no. Only because I've looked at the current market of goalkeepers. If Milan were to replace him, is it a guaranteed upgrade? No. Is it a guaranteed player of his quality? No. It would probably be an up-and-coming keeper. And how long will it take in order for them to fulfill their potential? And that's if they fulfill their potential. Mike Maignan, for me, 29 years of age. Still prime years ahead of him. A player that understands Milan. A player that's won in a Milan jersey. I would definitely roll the dice. I really, really, really would. I've made this video on somebody on Theo Hernandez. And I've said, Theo Hernandez, I would probably cash in. I really would. Mike Maignan, you're not going to find a replacement. The goalkeeper market, it's not the best. You don't let go of a goalkeeper because it's difficult to replace them. Now, having said all of that, I do sympathise with him. I try to play both corners. I try to play devil's advocate. I do sympathise with him. A constant change in management. A constant change in systems. Every single day, there's a different defensive partnership. One day, it's Gabbia. The other day, it's Tomori. Then it's Malik Tau. These things, they don't help a goalkeeper. You need to build a bond. You need to build that chemistry with your centre halves, with your fullbacks, with your teammates on the pitch. You need to understand their strengths, their weaknesses. With Mike Maignan, you could see this Milan team throughout the season has been getting chopped and changed. There were periods Theo Hernandez wasn't playing. Then there were periods Rafa Leao was on the bench. Now you've got Joao Felix, Santi Jimenez. There were periods Yunus Musa wasn't playing, but now he's a guaranteed starter. Chopping and changing formations. You could see there's unrest internally at Milan in terms of the board, in terms of the fans. All of these things, they play a part and they influence a player. And I feel like Milan fans, I feel like fans across the world, when they're frustrated, they take out the majority of their frustration on the players that they pin the highest of expectations on. Nobody in Milan is looking at a young kid and saying, you're failing to deliver. It's a young kid. You don't have that expectations of him because you've never ever really seen him deliver on a consistent of basis. But when Milan fans look at somebody like Rafa Leao, when they look at somebody like Mike Maignan, they're like, you guys have been there. You've done it before. You've shown us consistency. You've shown us quality. You've won us a Scudetto. So why have you guys now dropped off? And when you do drop off, you will hold the majority of the blame. You will hold the majority of the criticism. And I feel like all of these things, they hamper a player. Their confidence goes down, their morale goes down. Sometimes you just need a manager that can put his arm across your shoulder and tell you, I trust you. So even though you made a mistake, I trust you. I got your back. Mike Maignan, for me, I think it's definitely the right move to give him a new deal. Only because it's an area of the field which is so difficult to replace. And I still feel like there's a goalkeeper in there. Listen. As a player, he should be delivering the goods. As a player, he should be performing way better than he has this season. This isn't me like making excuses, but I just feel like every player, you can sometimes allow them to have that one poor campaign for whatever reason. But you need to make sure you create an environment where it brings the best out of them. And I genuinely feel like if Milan in the summer were to get the right appointment in terms of the manager, you begin to see a consistency in the way they play, in the way they set up, in terms of the starting 11. Players that understand Maignan. Maignan understands them. A system that plays to his strengths. A Milan team that isn't open. When your team is open and you concede a lot of shots, there's a lot of focus on your goalkeeper now. This is a Milan team that needs to improve defensively. And I feel like if they do improve defensively, you will begin to see less of these errors. You will begin, if anything, to see more of Maignan's strengths. But I feel like at the moment, he's sat telling himself, I'm the only guy trying to defend this team, because you see the errors, you see the lapses in concentration, you see players, in terms of just the overall system, the way Milan set up, they're very, very, very open. And if you're very open, you're not helping the goalkeeper. Listen, As a goalkeeper, I'm here to prevent shots. I'm here to stop shots. But I need you as centre halves to help me. I need you to help me. And I feel like with Mike Maignan sometimes this season, like, I look at the defending, the cross shouldn't have come in. I look at the shots, that shot should have never ever happened. With Mike Maignan, I would definitely roll the dice and give him that final big contract. I feel like he deserves. I feel like he's shown enough in a Milan shirt. The promise is still there. He is a great modern day keeper. He's literally got everything you want in a modern day keeper. I feel like it's just a matter of getting that confidence back in him, putting that fire in his belly, and maybe, just maybe, him knowing my future for the next 4 years is in Milan. Maybe that will give him the assurances in order to get back to the Mike Maignan we saw in the Scudetto winning season. Now, if you're new, make sure to subscribe. Make sure to hit the like button. Make sure to let me know what you think in the comments. And I'll catch you guys on another one.